Welcome everyone to this week's episode of Unrooted Baseball Edition, and my guest for this week's show is none other than senior on the baseball team, Nathan Dodson. Nathan, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
No problem. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Let's start by getting to know you a little bit better. Now, you grew up in Pacific Palisades. Did I say that correctly?
Pacific Palisades.
Palisades, okay. And you became a Los Angeles Rams fan down there. Now, most of your life, the Rams resided in the St. Louis area before they recently made the shift back last year. So where did that fandom come from?
Well, I want to say about 2 years ago, a buddy of mine by the name of Quentin Lake, who actually played football and baseball here as well, he invited me up to a Seahawks-Rams game. You know, me being from LA, like, I don't have a team, so I was like, it'll be interesting. He said, trust me, like, this will be an experience that no one else gets. So he's like, all you need is a plane ticket. So get the plane ticket, go up to Seattle, find out the owner has personally paid for him and I's room. All expenses were covered, and I got to watch the game from the sideline.
Wow.
So it was quite the experience, and then kind of just being around those guys. And I mean, they kind of let me know that they were making their way to LA. They were like, hey, just want to let you know you're an LA guy. Like, hopefully we see you next year. So I kind of got in on the bandwagon before some of the other guys that knew. So I kind of took my head start, and yeah. Huge Rams fan now.
So that's how your sideline experiences began. I remember seeing a picture of you, I believe it was on Facebook, where you were on the sideline with Jeff Fisher, who was the head coach of the Rams. What was that like?
I mean, it's always a really cool experience just to kind of be in that environment. Professional sports is it's just such a cool experience, and to be able to just sit on the sideline and just observe what those guys do, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that game a little bit later. But it was
so that's
that. Yeah, no, we'll touch on that.
I was thinking, I was like, is that the game I think it is? And now I definitely remember what it is. You played football here at Menlo until 2015, and you were a quarterback on the team. You actually saw a lot of playing time your sophomore season. What were some of the memories about being a part of that program?
I'd say just the experiences with my teammates, like coming here month before school started, going from 7 in the morning to sometimes 9, 10 at night, just kind of grinding it out with those guys. And then from like a personal perspective, I have 2 games that come to mind. It's I wasn't the starter at the time, but we were up in Canada playing Simon Fraser, which was a Division II team, kind of going in as the underdog, obviously, and starter gets hurt. I come in the first quarter, and my first extended action of my career, I threw 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and game winner with a minute left. So that one, still gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. But and then playing against Sacramento State, which was my first start. I'd always kind of had this dream and vision that I could play Division I football, and I got to experience it firsthand. And I mean, the game didn't go the way we wanted to as a team, but I feel that I've more than held my own. And then to have the head coach come up to me at the end of the game saying, I really love watching you compete, and I'm sorry I missed you in the recruiting process. It was a pretty cool thing to kind of experience. So definitely some great memories with those guys.
Absolutely.
And,
Now, once the football program is shut down, you decided to play baseball after being a quarterback on the team. And what kind of went into that decision of transitioning from football to baseball?
Well, just the honest need to compete. I was far along in my studies here, and I kind of was left with the option of am I really going to give up 2 more years of school to play 1 more year of football? And all my friends were here, and I just felt that maybe it's a good thing. I saw it as an opportunity, and I'm forever grateful to Jake, more grateful than he'll probably ever know. But no, definitely just the need to compete and just be a part of a team kind of while I finish up school, and just to see what happened. I kind of came into this thing knowing I hadn't played in 6 years.
Yeah. So
the odds were huge, and then to still be able to have the opportunity to get at bats and had a start last year. It's I don't know. I can't really describe it. It's been awesome, and just grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this year, talking about at-bats, you were able to get your first career home run down in Poway, California against St. Catherine. Now, after the shot, it was a shot to left field. You kind of stood at the plate and just stared at it for a little bit, just looking off into the distance. and then you kind of tossed the bat and then trotted around the bases. I got to ask, were you surprised?
I mean, maybe a little, but it was more kind of a sense of relief. Like, put so much time into it, and as I had gotten better, I had always been one of the guys that, during batting practice, hit the ball real far, but I hadn't been able to do it in the game. And to finally hit it and get the feeling of not, is this ball going to go out? Is this ball ever going to land? So I kind of looked at it and, took my time, my sweet time around the bases, and just kind of enjoyed the moment. But definitely a little bit of surprise, but it's more relief than anything else to finally get that out of the way.
Yeah, so. Now you're one of 13 guys on the team to have homered this year. That's the most in Menlo history. Let's transition over to the team a little bit. You guys had a huge weekend sweep against the then 16th ranked team in the nation, Vanguard. They've dropped to number 21 in the conference following the updated rankings. Two of the games really close. You had the 6-3 win on Friday and then the overtime walk-off win in 11 innings on Saturday. What was it like actually playing a really good opponent in two really close games?
I think it was huge for our team to just kind of show resiliency and character in that moment. I mean, as and a lot of other people do, we don't really care who's, on the other side. I mean, it's important kind of after the fact that, we took 3 games for the number 16 team in the country, but at the end of the day, we sat there and realized that, we're a good ball club, and, we can find ways to win against anyone, and to just kind of stick with our process and just keep the train rolling. And it wasn't really ever, are we going to be able to come back or put up runs? It was when, and no one ever blinked when there was adversity, and it was a really good thing to see. So it's exciting.
Yeah. Now, that sweep against Vanguard helped you guys stay in the top 10 after the updated rankings in the NAIA came out yesterday. On Tuesday, you guys dropped 1 spot to number 7 after going 5-3 over a 2-week period. I got to ask you guys, do you think about the rankings often when you're out there and when you're on the field? Does that kind of carry over with the expectation of we got to play up to the level of a top 10 team?
I don't necessarily think the ranking itself has too much bearing on how we go about our business, but I mean it definitely is in our minds. Today, we dropped a spot. I think that over the last week or so, I would say we've gotten away from kind of what makes us us, just playing Menlo baseball, but we did get back to it this weekend, and I think it is a bit of a relief to have only dropped 1 spot, because it easily could have gone a different way. So I mean, just going out there, having the pride, knowing that, in a lot of circles we do have respect now, and we just have to just control what we can control and go out and do what we do and show that kind of we deserve to be, I think we deserve to be higher, but that's a whole different topic, and kind of just all we got to keep doing is just what we've been doing, just winning and just playing quality baseball. Yeah.
Now, one of the guys that's helping you win so many games is Jordan Getzelman. He won GSAC Player of the Week this week for a monster week. The guy hit .429, 3 home runs. He's now got an NAIA best 15 home runs. From a fellow hitter standpoint, what is it with this guy, man? Everything he hits leaves the yard.
Oh, man, that guy. I don't know. I mean, since day one, since he stepped on a campus, you kind of got the feeling of who he is. He's super talented, but kind of aside from that, he's a great teammate, tremendous worker, cage rat. I mean, he's always in there just trying to perfect his craft. But I don't think anyone's really surprised at what he's been able to do, and I'm really happy for him that he's having the success he is, and I can't wait to see how many he finishes with. I mean, we're halfway in, and he's 6 away from the record. So he's definitely one of the more exciting guys to watch from a talent perspective, but he's an even better person when in comparison to talent. So it's good to see.
Yeah, Lucas Urseg set the program record last year with 20 in a single season, and he got drafted 46th overall by Milwaukee. So think there's any way Getzelman can come close to that?
To 20? Yeah, no, Lucas better watch out. This guy's, we kind of talk about it all the time. Anything hits in the air to left field, more than likely it's a home run. So, the guy keeps doing what he's doing. I'm sure that, records are meant to be broken anyways, right?
Yeah.
So.
Role players play a huge role in the success of this team. It was indicated over the weekend with Justin Cooney silking the game, tying home run in a pinch hit at bat, and then Kama Eldridge winning it in the 11th. You can't say enough about what each player on this team contributes to the roster. Am I right?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, those two with two, first pitch huge home runs to get us into the game, back into the game, and eventually winning the game. And a guy I kind of wanted to mention for this is Peter Saldana.
Oh yeah.
Pete's been a guy the last couple of years I've been out here who just hasn't, has all the talent in the world, hasn't quite been able to figure it out in games. And this year, you've seen what he's doing, and it defies like everything we know about baseball. And it's we kind of say the world's flat. When he's coming up and homering in his 4th straight pinch hit at bat, you kind of just go, you're like, what? But I think each guy knows that at any time they can be called upon and they can be successful, and that's kind of what makes our team so special. Is that guys who don't normally get starts, who get spot at bats, they're not, when the game starts, they're not concerned with why am I not playing over this guy or that guy. They're concerned with what can I do right now to help the team win. And I think that's what makes this group special. And I think that's what's going to carry us through the rest of the year. So.
And it seems like you guys have a really good mindset with all the travel you've been doing. Of course, you haven't had a true home series all year long. We've been beating that into the ground every week on the show. What is that grind like, constantly being on the road, constantly having to travel 6 to 8 hours every weekend?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you got to sit on a bus with Eduardo Sanchez, Emilio, you got Max screaming in the back of the bus for 10, 11 hours, it definitely grinds on. It's a grind. It wears on you a bit, but kind of going with the same theme here. We don't really care. We just cherish the opportunity to play on a field that has a backstop. We cherish any opportunity to compete against any opponent, anywhere, anytime, and we kind of see it as a fun thing. It's kind of just kind of adds to the story of this year. It's like, we don't know if we're ever going to play here, but we don't care. We just want to get out there and compete on behalf of Menlo College and just continue to take this program to new heights. So, but yeah, no, definitely it wears on you at times, and it's definitely been tough, but it's been a great experience.
Yeah, and you guys are leaving on Thursday up for Oregon Tech. You have a 4-game series up there against the Hustlin' Owls, doubleheaders on Friday and Saturday. It's supposed to be awfully cold up there. There's rumors that it might snow while you guys are in town. So is that going to be something that keeps the bats in check?
I mean, I don't think any outside factor is going to cold the bats, I guess you'd say. I mean, we've been trained to adjust how we play in any sort of circumstance, anywhere, anytime. If the wind's blowing in at 30 miles an hour, or it's -2 degrees and the ball's not going anywhere, we're trained to adjust our approach and just manufacture runs anywhere, anytime. So I don't think it'll play too much of a factor, but I definitely will bring a couple extra jackets.
I was going to say, you got the long johns already?
Yeah, exactly. No, we're ready for that. Yeah, we're ready.
All right, Nate, let's transition to the final segment of the show. It's called Brownie Bites. I'm going to ask you 3 off-the-wall questions, though you have a pretty good idea where they're going here. We're going to talk some football with you in the final 3. Question number 1. I know what you're going to pick, but the fans don't. What's your worst Rams memory?
Okay, so my worst Rams memory was, in fact, the game we were talking about earlier. It was the Monday night game against the 49ers. So it was halftime, and me being the football guy I am, I'm on the sideline. I'm like, let's see what these coaches are going to do, make some adjustments or anything like that. So I'm actually standing next to Todd Gurley, the Rams starting running back. The offensive coordinator comes in the room, and mind you, Rams maybe have 60 yards total offense. Mm-hmm. And guy comes in, taking some words out here, but says, we're not going to change anything. We're going to stick to what we do, and eventually one of these things is going to pop and we're going to score. And I kind of am like sitting here, you guys haven't moved the ball. Like, what are you talking about? And they ultimately ended up losing the game 28-0. I don't think they got past the 50 until the 4th quarter, and it was just Not a great time, but no, that was definitely one of my worst memories with the Rams so far.
A couple of things to point out with that game. One, the Niners only won 3 games all year, and they beat the Rams twice. I hate to rub that in.
But went to both of those games.
Oh, boy.
Very disappointing.
Bless your soul.
It's all right.
And then number 2, I think that fan who came out onto the field, I think it was the 3rd quarter, and he was running around. I believe he was under the influence of alcohol, perhaps. I think he had more yards than the Rams did on that.
Oh, 100%. That guy, that was actually probably the highlight of the game for me personally, is to see someone running in the open field and not have them get tackled in the backfield. But no, that was definitely a fun experience too.
And then as an aside, did you hear any of the broadcasters' calls of the fan on the field?
I didn't actually hear it while it was going on, obviously. Yeah, I was on the sideline, but I did hear it after. It was
those are pretty good.
Yeah, no, those are some good ones for sure.
Broadcaster goals for sure.
Yeah, seriously.
Question number 2, we'll stick with the Rams. What one blockbuster trade would you pull off if you were general manager of the LA Rams?
See, this was tough for me because the Rams don't really have that many people that are wanted, so I wouldn't really know who to trade. But one that came to mind, I think I would trade Aaron Donald and maybe 2nd round pick, something around there, for maybe Marcus Mariota and Delaney Walker. He's a tight end for the Tennessee Titans. I just figured, you know, I've been to multiple Rams games, barely seen him get over 200 yards. We need somebody in there that's gonna, it's gonna move the ball, and I think those 2 guys definitely come to mind, and it'd be exciting to watch too. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Marcus Mariota, one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL, and Delaney Walker is his best friend up there in Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly.
So wouldn't be a bad one to get.
Exactly.
And then question number 3: which of your baseball teammates would make the worst quarterback?
I mean, there's so many to actually choose from, because I've seen a lot of these guys throw football, and I mean, most of the time it's not pretty. But I'm going to say it's going to have to be my roommate, Dan Bass. I'm sorry, Dan. But just, it has nothing to do with any of the intangibles of the position or anything like that. But just simply put, the guy just cannot throw a football to save his life. And, I mean, to his credit, I'll pump him up a little bit here. We played a little bit of football at our camp out. He's a huge slot receiver for me, made some big catches late, but in no way, shape, or form of reality am I going to pick that guy to be my quarterback. So I'd have to say Dan Betts. Interesting. Being as big of a football guy as Dan is, I know, I think he'd be able to throw it a little bit. Yeah, well, it's just not the case. Hey, Dan, you know what? You win some, you lose some. Maybe if we get you on the show here, we could have a little football throwing session. You know what? We'll work on that form of yours. Yeah. I got a few tips for you. We'll get it figured out. Nate, thanks so much for joining me on the show. No problem. Thank you. And fans, don't forget, baseball's on the road this weekend. They're traveling up to Klamath Falls, Oregon to take on the Hustlin' Owls of Oregon Tech. It's a 4-game series. It starts on March 24th. Doubleheaders on Friday and Saturday. Both of them are at 11 o'clock. And Menlo College returns home to the Bay Area after that. They have a single game next Tuesday on the 28th against the Academy of Art. And then a home series, the location to be determined, of course, on March 31st and April 1st against Hope International. Well, we invite you to tune into next week's show when Nate Dodson will select the next interviewee on Unrooted Baseball Edition. I am Brian Brownfield. Thanks so much for tuning into the show, and we'll see you next week.